Hello, welcome to my channel, fellow hermits. My name is and in this channel we cover about how can we improve our lives, even just a little bit, over time, bit by bit, so we can do the things that we've always wanted to do. Set ourselves free from limiting beliefs. From about 10 years ago or so, I started going to therapy for my mental illness, and they would always recommend, oh, gratitude is amazing, gratitude this, gratitude that. But I've always wondered, how can I use my gratitude to level up my life? Like, what's the point of it? To tell somebody who's going through the worst in their life, but then telling them, oh, it's not so bad. There's all these amazing things in this world. I could not believe it. But now that I've actually worked on myself and implemented my plan, now I really see the full effect of gratitude. So I would like to give some tips and tricks on how I used gratitude to level up my life. Tip number 1 is finance. So this is actually inspired by a philosopher named Ken Homa. He came up with this method called Happy Money Method. And I believe he has an English YouTube channel, so if I find it, I'll put a link. I know that he published a couple of books, so I highly recommend reading it. But basically, you want to use gratitude in your mind so you can build a healthier relationship with money. You might be thinking, like, that's kind of crazy. Money is inanimate. How can you build a relationship with money? By building a healthy relationship with money, it doesn't mean like having like an emotional connection with money. It's more so changing your mindset around money and how you handle it, how you finance, how you invest. It all comes down to your attitude. For instance, I would like you to think from a money's perspective. Just imagine you're the money, and you have to be around this person. And the money would rather be with somebody who it's comfortable being around, rather than somebody that abuses and has like a toxic relationship, toxic mindset. Let's say somebody is very attached to money and they're not willing to let go, or every time they spend money they say, oh, there goes my money again. Oh, that's so expensive. The money is gonna see that and be like, oh, why the fuck am I with this person? I'm just gonna leave. I don't want to be here anymore. Gratitude will help you to learn how to appreciate money. It's about maintaining this balance of learning how to let go of the money at the right time, while also being more logical of when and how you save money or invest money. So I have an interesting story. The other day I went to the mall. I said I want to do something nice for myself. And I looked at the price tag and I'm like, oh my god, it's so expensive. But then I realized that I had this urge to spend money and buy these nice looking things just to prove myself that I'm not poor. So I was getting more and more urge to like buy whatever It comes like very impulsively. And I said, hold on now. This isn't working. So I reflected on myself and practiced mindfulness. And I was like, okay, how can we change my mindset so I can actually enjoy shopping rather than, feeling poor? So I said, you know what? Worked very hard on my job. I got the paycheck. I can buy whatever I want. By allowing myself, by trusting myself, by improving my self-talk, I noticed that I was being a lot more careful with how and what I spend on rather than torturing myself. The more I give myself freedom and acceptance, the more I was able to think more from a level-headed place. It helped me to be more appreciative of the money that comes in. Like when I get the paycheck, I say, thank you so much for the payment. And I know it's a big amount of money for the company. Like, thank you so much for paying me for my hard work. And then when I spend, I also say thank you to the money. Like, thank you so much for being part of my life for a short time. Please go make other people happy. And I noticed that I'm not spending that much money. Like, I never had any financial issue so far. I do think about what separates from a rich and wealthy. Because they might sound the same, but it's not. You can be rich, but you can be poor at the same time. Like, let's say that rich person has a good income. But if they're spending more than what they earn, then they're poor. There's some rich people who would get into massive debt just to get whatever they wanted. Their status goes down. So yeah, wealth, in my opinion, is that balance between income and spending. And yes, and wealth is people who have learned to appreciate everything that they already have, but then having that extra money to be able to spend whenever they need to go buy something. Being able to go to the grocery shopping and be able to buy that product without having to worry too much about the pricing. I think that's what true wealth means. Just as a summary, the more you have a healthy relationship with money, you have more freedom to spend because you're not over consuming or overspending. You'll have the money when you actually need it. So yeah, think about it. Tip number 2 is workout. This, I believe that it's not talked enough. Every time I used to go to a gym, I went on a workout on and off throughout my whole life, but it never really lasted because every time I went to the gym and I do like a light workout and run out of breath, I used to shame myself. I was like, haha, like, that's all you can do, you fatty. And I'm not trying to fat shame. Like, if you're really happy with your body, like, I'm happy for you. But I've always struggled with my body image throughout my whole life. And I've always wanted to be more fit and healthy. And wondered why I couldn't last in the gym. Well, yeah, duh, because who wants to go to gym just to be ashamed? So I started to practice gratitude going to the gym. Just celebrating being able to move my body. I started working out on one of those stair machines. I think it's called the Step Master. And I used to only last like 3 minutes and I would run out of breath. Like level. Or I would have to like sit down on the bench just to like protect myself from almost fainting. And one time, as an experiment, I told myself in my head, like, you're doing a good job, like, I believe in you, you can do a little bit more, let's try. Like, thank you for being able to move and do this amazing workout with me. And la behold, like, I was able to stretch my time on those step machines by like 2 to 3 minutes. And I was like, oh my god, I was able to do that? So yeah, try changing the tone of voice that you speak when you're working out and see how much of a difference it can give you. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is emotional regulation, aka emotional intelligence. So everybody loves good emotion, happiness, joy, hope. As a society, we were never taught on how to appreciate the negative emotions. Sadness, anger, disgust. Kind of like the Inside Out movies. Emotion plays a big role of ourselves. Like, imagine back in Stone Age where there was saber-toothed tigers and mammoths. Like, if we didn't have those negative emotions and learn how to protect ourselves from danger, we wouldn't be here. Homo sapiens would have been extinct like ages ago. Here we are now because emotion was protecting us. And if you think about it, these emotions, they used to protect us from very simple things like saber-toothed tigers and mammoths. There may be some accidents here and there because fear teaches us how to protect ourselves in unforeseen events. But over time, we have so much more to stress out about. School, grade, job, relationships. We live in a society where there's way too much stressors. And we live in a society where there's too much societal expectations. Like toxic femininity and masculinity. It's not natural to us to have so many responsibilities. To just be ourselves. Like, let's say you're working at an office and some guy comes in and says, oh, look, we have all this list of responsibilities you have to do for tomorrow. And follow it. That's how our emotions feel. We have to learn how to repress our emotions just so we can blend into society. It's not natural for us. You would think, oh, emotions, then they must just be like a relic of the past. But emotions are still very relevant even to this day. Because they teach us so much about who we are. And with the example about fear protecting us from danger, we still need it today, right? It teaches us about like what we're experiencing our emotions are like knocking on the door saying, hey, listen to me. This is how I feel. This is how what I'm going through right now. Please listen to me. And the more you push it away or suppress it, the more they're gonna get frustrated, right? They're saying, hey, like, I'm going through these things, please listen to me. And the more you try to like plug your ears, they're going to get louder and louder. And it will get to the point where you end up having to listen to it and then acting up, and then you'll wonder why you acted out. It'll take a long time to explain everything about emotional intelligence in this video, so I'll make a separate video for that. But basically, I use gratitude in a way to validate them, to accept them, to acknowledge them that they exist, and to make them feel heard. So I have a good story. One time I was driving and trying to get onto the highway. Like, I was at the entrance, and then there was a small car. It looked like a Kia in the lane that I was in, far right side of the lane. And in the middle lane there was a truck right next to it. And I think that car was in that blind spot, but the truck started to try to merge into that right lane where this small car and I was. And the truck almost hit this car. And I'm watching that and I'm thinking, is there gonna be like a big accident about to happen right in front of me? But luckily that driver noticed this truck trying to merge, so he dodged it by going off to the shoulder of the highway. And then they kind of slowed down and waited until the truck passed by, and then they just merged back into the lane that we were in. Nothing really happened. But even after all of that was over, my heart was pounding and my palms were sweaty, and I'm like, oh my god, there could have been a big accident. Like, why wasn't that truck a little bit more careful, yada yada. And it almost ruined my day. And I noticed that. I was scared. Well, I started with a meditation or mindfulness. Like I would breathe in, breathe out, try to calm my body, because fear is a physical response. By doing the breathing exercise, it helps to calm your body down. And once I got to the point where I can think clearly, I told myself, like, hey, fear, thank you for doing your job. Nothing really happened. Everything is resolved now. I can take over from here on. Like, please take a break. And then, lo and behold, like, my fear just disappeared. And I was able to calm myself down in like 1 minute. If you practice enough of this mindfulness and gratitude, like combine them together, you can calm yourself down in like a matter of minutes. Of course, it's going to take longer when you're just starting off. Whereas if something like that happened, I would just drag that throughout my whole day. I would blame the truck driver. I would start to be paranoid and scared. Like, oh, I don't know if it's a good idea to drive. But I knew that I didn't want that in my life. I didn't want to be so scared and anxious. Because it takes a lot of energy that I could be using to bring more happiness in my life. Learning how to have gratitude towards my emotion just changed my life. Like, I haven't been that scared or anxious in a really long time. Ever since I started to learn how to accept my trauma and emotions. When it comes to emotional regulation, this is a very overgeneralized tip. So if you would like a more curated, more personalized advice, please consider looking into my description, clicking the link to a booking system, and then, yeah, let's just chit chat for 1 hour. And over a couple of sessions, we can come up with a plan that you can implement to make your life even slightest bit a bit easier to live. So yeah, check it out. The last tip that I'm going to say might be pretty obvious, but I wouldn't say very obvious because, everybody goes through different stages of life. But it's just to be happier overall. And a lot of therapists and healthcare professionals will advise to practice more gratitude. But it wasn't until I actually practiced that I fully understand why it's so important. I used to think that, it's just kind of like a normal thing. And yeah, as you know, a lot of religion is, one of the teaching is to be grateful. When you experience such a big trauma in the past, like I have complex trauma. I grew up with trauma. I had depression ever since I remember. And so yeah, I was just depressed my whole life. So gratitude, I was like, what the hell is that? I was able to start to learn how to have gratitude when I started to work on myself and say, hey, like I can't be so depressed for the rest of my life. Like something has to change. And at first I practiced writing like a list of gratitude, and it was really hard. I probably got like 3 things down, and that was it. I made it my goal and to like write down gratitude, and just about like every time that I even feel one. Like there are times where my page of diary was just me explaining about a situation where I felt very grateful. As I practiced more and more, like my list of gratitude grew over time. The more I did it, the more I became more happier overall. Like gratitude helped me to remind that this world isn't so bad at all. Like yes, there are terrible things happening in this world, but there's also good things. And you just don't want to forget all that good things either. The kind gesture that somebody showed you. Even just somebody grabbing the cart for you at a grocery store. Even somebody just saying hi to you and striking a conversation. To most people that might be normal, but it's not. Another thing that helped me to make writing the gratitude list a lot easier was that I just threw away like what would be considered as normal. The air that we breathe, the atmosphere that we have, the ground that we stand on, the gravity to help us stand on the ground. Just this earth being able to maintain its balance so we can even breathe and live. I would not use the word miracle because that's very religious focused, but it almost is. This planet Earth that we're standing on, it's out of the norm. And look at all the other planets. Neptune has raining diamonds. You imagine going outside and there's like a hail of diamond falling on you. The point is that what you think is normal is not. Yeah, it feels normal because it's always been in your life. It doesn't mean to just take it for granted. When we experience trauma, we get caught into this spiral of thought process that's negative or self-inflicting, that is damaging due to something called cognitive bias. What is cognitive bias? Which I'll make another video for that. But cognitive bias is like a bug in our brain. Like, let's say you're trying to run a program on a computer, and cognitive bias is like a code that's not working. It's a bug. But our brain is just doing what it's always been doing. But sometimes that code, that train of thought, that mindset just doesn't work. It does more harm than good. There's something called negative bias. Negative bias is where you're too focused on the negative aspect rather than the positive. Or that you just kind of push it aside, the positive, and say, oh, that's just like a fluke. That's not normal. What's normal is all these painful experiences that I experienced in the past. Oh, that kindness that somebody showed me, oh, that's just normal. You start to kind of downplay all of the good things that happen. Oh, there's a happy family. That can't be true. My family was so toxic, and this is what I've been experiencing all my life. When I see like a happy family, oh, that's just, it's not gonna last. You know, they're just faking it, and there's always something going on behind closed doors. Like, you start to like make assumptions when something positive happens, but that's not true. What's positive is also true. It's kind of like that saying, like, the cup is half full or half empty. Negative bias will make you say, oh, the cup is half empty. But yeah, all of the positive experiences and anything positive happening is also true as much as all of the negative things that happened in your life. It's not a fluke. It's not something you can dismiss. It happens because negative emotions or hurtful memories we tend to like store that into our long-term memory because it teaches us, our brain, to know what to look out for. So where does the gratitude come in? Gratitude is best when you're in the worst time. When you're going through bad times. That's when you want to practice gratitude. Just to remind yourself, hey, you know, we may be going through a hard time right now, but there will always be something else that's good. Like, don't forget about the good things in life. Even the most happiest people go through some bad times here and there. But they've learned emotional intelligence. They've learned how to like regulate their emotion, not so much so that they're not having or experiencing like that roller coaster of emotions. They say, okay, today might be a bad day, but there will always be something good. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, or when all of the issue gets resolved, then I can be back to my healthy, happy life. I just love gratitude. Ever since I've learned it, how to do it, well, yeah, I just don't really get that much bothered anymore. And everybody can get this power. Like, if I can get it, as somebody who has chronic depression, if I can learn how to be this happy, everybody can. I've had chronic depression, complex trauma for years. For like 30 years. But even then, I was able to learn how to healthy and happy, you can do it too. I believe in you. So yeah, if you find this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you have any other tips or thoughts or opinion by commenting down below. Earlier I mentioned I was going to make these videos. If you find them interesting, then click the subscribe button so you can get future updates. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!